I'm Richard Clements. I'm a Lieutenant Colonel from the Royal Anglian Regiment, and my job is as Joint Regional Liaison Officer. And the Joint Regional Liaison Officers act as a conduit between the civil authorities and defence for all things relating to military aid, or the military love an acronym MACA, Military Aid to the Civil Authorities. I cover Kent, Surrey and Sussex, and I have an opposite number who covers Thames Valley, Hampshire and the Isle of Wight. We work to a headquarters in Aldershot, and they command from where any MACA operations are commanded. Looking back over the years, the sort of thing that we've been involved in, and the military is normally the last resort when everything else has failed, is flooding in the Thames Valley, support to party conferences, bomb disposal type things. And then more recently, one can go back to those heady days at the beginning of COVID, where we've done a vast array of different things which we've covered. That ranged from supporting the National Health Service with general duties personnel deploying to hospitals, several hundred, people driving ambulances, military co-responders who were trained medics working alongside their colleagues in the ambulance service, setting up testing stations, doing mobile testing, and then over Christmas, when the French decided that they needed all the truck drivers to be tested, we deployed 800 soldiers in support to run that testing. But fundamentally, we're always in support of the civil authorities. We're not running the operation ourselves. And our colleagues in the civil authorities know what they're doing, and it normally tends to be either duration or scale or something niche that requires us to be brought in.
Hello, I'm Steve Owen Hughes. I'm the Chief Fire Officer of Surrey Fire and Rescue Service. I'm also the Chair of Surrey Local Resilience Forum. I am an ex-soldier, regular and reservist, and my job during the pandemic was to be in charge of all of the emergency services and all of the organisations in Surrey gathered together under what's called the Civil Contingencies Act, which forms a local resilience forum in order to deal with emergencies in every county across the south of England and nationally as well. At times it's been absolutely crazy and mad. The tempo has been mad, but it's been continuous for 2 years, and the tasks and the scale of the tasks that we've need to complete, we wouldn't have been able to do without the military's help. And the military have helped us significantly. They've improved everybody's lives. They've helped prevent panic, not just amongst the general population, but about those of us that have to respond as well. And their input has saved hundreds of lives, prevented thousands of people's conditions from worsening, and made the whole of the country, and particularly Surrey, a better place. And we're very, very, very grateful to our military. So for us, it's really important that all organisations are able to come together effectively, particularly to respond to incidents like the pandemic or flooding or anything else that happens. And planning for that is the key to it. And the military are always there to help us plan for it, and have always been there to help us when we need them respond to these incidents. And without that fallback and being able to call on the military when we need them, things would be really, really difficult for us to deliver. Amongst the military contingent that came to us and the various roles that they had, we had a number of reservists, in fact a whole host of reservists, and a lot of them were local. Some of them actually worked in our own organisations as well, in the fire service or in the county council and other areas as well, and so they had a good local knowledge as well as their own military knowledge, and bringing those two things together and being able to fuse that information, that intelligence that they had, as well as their own abilities and to translate that into military action, was absolutely life-saving.
I'm Major Sam Hibbs of the Honourable Artillery Company. I've been a reservist for 22 years. In my civilian career, I worked as a global operations manager for an insurance adjuster firm in the City of London. I was mobilised and op rescript in 2020 for 16 months in support of Surrey County, where I live with my wife and my children. I remember back to the start of March 2020 when I was warned off by my reserve unit that I might be mobilised to support UK operations in the fight against coronavirus. Throughout the uncertainty of this time, I regularly spoke with my civilian boss, giving him updates and the heads up that I might be mobilised at very short notice. Having an extremely supportive employer really made the difference, especially during this initial global pandemic stage. Having a good relationship and support from my employer was important, because 2 days later, on a Thursday evening, the call for mobilisation came in. By Sunday, I'd reported in uniform, ready for duty. I arrived at the police headquarters in Guildford in Surrey and immediately set to work getting to know the civilian agency partners I would be working with. From the get-go, I was working directly with chief officers and the tactical practitioners from across the emergency services, councils and the NHS. These partners were all subject matter experts in their own right, so my role was absolutely about supporting and assisting them as a military planning officer, using the skills and experience I've gained from the training in the Army Reserve. This supportive approach, I believe, enabled constructive and fresh input into the COVID-19 response in Surrey, allowing our civilian partners to focus on the here and now of the response and leaving me to prepare courses of action for them to consider and take forward. As a reservist, I believe that I was able to bring both my military and private sector experience to the table to add a new supporting dimension, which was important while civilian agencies worked flat out for their residents. If anything, I was very proud to play such an active part in the UK response to coronavirus, but even more so, to actively serve and have a tangible impact on my own local communities. Naturally, being a resident of Surrey, I had a vested interest in the success of Surrey's Local Resilience Forum. Working with local leaders, delivering effect at the local level and making a difference for Surrey has undoubtedly been one of the pinnacles of my reservist career.
So just reflecting on the last couple of years, first of all, we are in support of our very able civilian colleagues. It's their plan and we're just coming to assist. It was a very collaborative effort that often saw us adapting at pace to an extraordinary situation. And that's something that the military do routinely. And then the final point is in relation to the reservists. It was deeply satisfying to be able to look after and support local communities, our own local communities.